guys are not being recorded. It's just a screen that's being recorded, so I can put it on Google Classroom for you. So here, this is pretty much the function section, but we start off by doing relations. All right, relations are what you're looking at here, relating an x to a y. This could be about anything. This could be 2 inches of rain falling causes 1 inch of the plant to grow. Like it could be any context. Context doesn't matter at this point. We're just going to learn how to use relations and functions. So when it's a table to a map, on the left side, you write the domain. On the right side, you write the range. Domain is all of the x values. So just get all these x values and put them there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are you with me? Now make sure you don't repeat a number. On this side, you have 1, 2, 3, and -3. Notice I didn't repeat the 2 because you don't repeat numbers here. You with me? Now draw an arrow to the ones that are related to each other. 2 is related to 1. 3 is related to 2. 4 is also related to 2. 5 is related to 3. And 6 is related to -3. We just made a map. So it's the same thing as a table, but with arrows. ¿Entiendes? La X y la Y. Now, this part here, the graphing part, I saw a bunch of mistakes on IXL happening when you're graphing these points. So, first of all, the first point we're going to graph is 2, 1, right? This number is the X, which can only move you left or right, because the X-axis moves left or right. So this is going to be left or right. This number is your Y-axis, so it's going to be up or down. So start from the middle, right here, from the origin, and move accordingly. +2, would that be right 2 or left 2? Right 2. So right 2 and up 1. There's my point. You with me? Now let's do the same thing for all the other ones. 3, 2 is the next point. So we go to 3 and go up to 2. 4, 2. 4, 2. 5, 3. 5, 3. And 6, -3. Are you with me? Now, is this a function, yes or no? This is what we're going to learn in this lesson. If your x values repeat, it's not a function. If your y value repeats, it's okay, not a problem. But the x value can never repeat. All right, I'll mark you now. All right, any questions on this page? All right, let's move on. So that was just your bell ringer question. Now we're going to do one more time, but I'm going to fill in the numbers for you. So let's go with 3, 4, 3, 5, 2, 6, 2, 6. And let's go with, see if there's one more after. Let's go with 0, 4, and let's add another one at the end. That's 6, 0. Now, don't do this on your own. We're doing this together. So, first of all, let's label. You have a question? So, first, let's label our domain and our range. How many values of the domain do we have here? Incorrect. Look again. I expected 6. Now, fix it. Huh? 4 because they can't be repeated. So this is 3, 2, 0, and 6. All the other ones are repeated numbers. You don't have to write it twice. You only write it one time. So this is going to be 3, 2, 0, and 6. Now let's do the same thing, but with the range values, the y values. So 4, 5, 6, 0. Everybody with me? All right, so 3 is related to, what else is it related to? 5. So we put an arrow from 3 to 4 and from 3 to 5. He's fixing my door. All right, now we go to the next one. 2. 2 is related to what number? To 6. Now the next one is repeated. I don't got to do it because I already have 2, 6. So now 0, comma 4. 0 has to be going to the 4. And the last one, 6, comma 0. Now, and if you remember what I said on the last page, is this a function, yes or no? No, why? It's repeated on the x. Does the 4 being repeated matter? No, only the x matters. Are you with me? Now, let me explain to you why this matters. Let's say you have y equals 2x plus 3. If I plug in a 2 right here, what is it going to equal? 2 times 2 is 4, plus 3, 7. You guys all agree that gives me 7? Can I plug in a 2 again and get a different answer? No. That's why when the x repeats, it's not a function because it doesn't make sense. You can't plug in the same number twice and get a different answer. Make sense? That's like the logic behind it. So now let's plot these points, and I want to talk about 2 points specifically on this. So first, 3, comma 4, 3, comma 5, 2, comma 6, 0, 4, 6, 0. Now, the 2 special points I want to talk about are the ones that hit the actual x and y axis. This number right here was 0, comma 4. Everybody agree? Now, what is the x value on your y-intercept? 0. Are you with me? Now, the x-intercept is this one. What are the coordinates of that one? 6, comma 0. Now, on that one is backwards. Thank you. Now, on that one is backwards. The y value of your x-intercept is what? 0, your y value. So that's what I want to show you. Whenever you have a y-intercept, the x value is always 0. Whenever you have an x-intercept, the y value is always what? 0. Why? Because if you go to 6 and then I tell you to move 0, are you going to move? No, that's why it stays there. If I tell you go 0 left or right, are you going to move left or right? No. 4 up, stop. So that's the difference between y-intercept and x-intercept. We're going to practice that later on in this lesson, but this is like the beginning, the intro to it. Any questions so far? All right, let's move off of this page. Now, I don't need you to graph anything on this page. I just want you to do this. Put a capital D. And now tell me all of the values of the domain here. What are the values of the domain? 4, 5, 6, 7. Is there any other x values? All right, so that is your domain. Because that's the definition of the word domain. All possible x values. Now range is the opposite. All possible y values. So what are the y values there? 2, 4, 6, 8. Any questions so far? All right, let's move over to the next section, which is the one with the graphs. So go to the pink graphs. So we just talked about domain in terms of points given to you. Now let's talk about graphs. All right? Domain, does it deal with x's or y's? X. So we're going to put an x right here. Write it. Put D, put a space like I did, put an x there. So domain is all possible x values, correct? Possible. So how far to the left does this circle go? All the way to, let's say it reaches this number. That goes all the way to what number on the left? -3. How far does it go to the right? It goes all the way to +3. Are you with me? Can it be lower than -3? No. Is it bigger than +3? No. So this is the numbers that go here. -3 and 3. Just like the inequalities that we wrote before. It's smaller than 3, but bigger than -3. So all you're looking for is limits. ¿Hasta dónde fue? Límites. Are you with me so far? Now range, let's do the same thing, but domain deals with x and y, so we're dealing with left to right. Range deals with y, so now we're thinking top to bottom. What's the lowest spot it goes to? -2. What's the highest spot it goes to? 5. So now for range, what letter goes in the middle? Y. What's the smallest value it went to? -2. And what's the biggest number it got to? 5. That's it. That's domain and range when you have a graph. Are you with me? All right, I'll give you a couple of minutes to try the next two on your own, and then we'll get some more practice on the next page. So try this one and this one solo, on your own. So domain was -4 all the way to +4, because that's where the u goes. That's as far as the u reaches. Now, range, same thing, but y values, right? Now, how far up does it go? All the way to 4. How far down does it go? Hmm? Technically, it goes on forever. So does it ever stop going down? It goes down forever, correct? Because it's an arrow. So that means this is your range. There's no limit on the bottom. So there's no number on the bottom. Puedes subir más de 4. Por eso que es menos o igual que 4. Puede bajar hasta infinito. Por eso que no hay número aquí, porque no hay límite. Limits are what give you the numbers. Up to where does it go? If there's no stopping it, there's no stopping it. So far, so good? All right, domain on this one. Domain, it goes all the way to -5 on the left, and it goes all the way to what on the right? -1. So we got our domain already. Now let's do range. How far down does it go? -4. How far up does it go? 4. Notice how -4 is a limit here. Here there was no limit because it goes down forever. Any questions so far? Now let me show you. I'll go back, but let me show you something first. Look at this. How about a line like this? Watch. What is the domain? Does it ever stop going to the left? Does it ever stop going to the right? So the domain is all real numbers. That's it. How about the range? Does it stop going up? Does it stop going down? So what's the range? All real numbers. Literally that simple. Any questions so far? All right, I'll leave that for you to practice later. Let's go straight to this page. Go to the candle page. Sigue. ¿Mm? Menos 4, la Y en medio y el positivo 4 arriba. Ahora pon estos dos símbolos para abajo ya. All right, so look at this page. This page is extremely important. Domain and range is important. So I just want to show some context here. All right? Domain means all possible x values. Are you with me? So let's say x represents candles. And all he has is 50 candles to sell. What is your domain? Let's think about this together. If all you have is 50 candles to sell, what would be your domain? From 0 all the way to what? 50. How come it stops at 50? Because that's all he has. Are you with me so far? Now, they won't ask for it like this. They'll give you multiple choice answers like so. You tell me if this is a possible domain. 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2. Is this a possible domain for candles? You know the question that's coming after. Why? Is this possible domain for candles right here? How many of you have bought a candle before? Your parents bought a candle before, right? Have you ever gone to the store and bought half of a candle? So can you have 0.5 as a possible candle value? No. So what's more like it? 0 and then what? 1. And then what? 2. So on and so forth. These are the types of questions you're going to get about domain and range. Common sense questions. And there's going to be another one that says -2, -1. Have you bought a negative candle before? I'd love to see that. You with me so far? Domain and range questions are all common sense. Now let's analyze this graph over here. Okay? What's the furthest? Let's do domain first. What's the furthest x value that's reached? 90. See how 90 is the x value there? You with me? What's the smallest x value you have? 0. So the domain is from 0 to 90. You with me so far? Now let's do range. Range is the y values, which means top to bottom. So what's the biggest y value we have here? 60. What's the smallest y value we have? 0. So this is going to be from 0 to 60, which is the domain and range from a weird word problem. Any question on that one? Let's see if one of you can come up with one idea of something that happens in real life that the domain could be decimals like this. Mm-hmm. Hmm? Money. Anything money could have decimals because money is decimals. Quarters, change, very good. What else? Uh, like, I'm glad you said that. He says agua, water, right? Let's think about this. ¿Cuánto jugo hay aquí? Pero tú dijiste que puedes decir decimales, right? So this is the difference, right? ¿Cuántas botellas de agua hay aquí? Una. Ve que sí se puede contar. If you can count it, that's whole numbers. Are you with me? Decimals are measuring sticks. So if you measure this, this can be 3.5 liters. Now you have it. So water is not always an X value. It could be water bottles, which are whole numbers, or it could be 2.6 gallons. Make sense? So it depends on the words around it. What else? If you drive 4.5 miles, can't you say 4.5 miles? Absolutely. Miles don't have to be whole miles, right? Before you get to the next mile, you've been traveling decimals the whole way through. So some things you can use decimals, some things you can't use decimals. That's where you see discrete versus continuous data. And you'll see all of that in a second. All right? Let's just do one of these, look through one of these examples. This is already done for you. The solution is here. So let's just look through this solution to understand why. So first of all, we did some of this last class, so hopefully it'll be a refresher. But look over here. You have two things on the first sentence here. You have water pressure is 0 psi. It increases by 0.44 pounds per square inch for every foot an object descends in the water. Right? So which one's causing which? When the water pressure changes, does it make things go deeper? Or when things go deeper, it changes the water pressure? When things go deeper, it changes the water pressure. So things going into the water has to be your X value, which means the PSI has to be your Y value. So the first question here is, does it represent a function? That's a yes, but independent and dependent. Which letter is your independent variable, X or Y? X. X is always the independent variable. And Y is going to be your dependent variable. Are you with me so far? But they don't want X and Y. They want actual information, like words. So for independent, you're going to write every foot an object descends in the water. Oh, you don't have to write it. They wrote it here. And for dependent, that's going to be the pounds per square inch as a result. Now look at part B here. Part B says that the whale is going to dive from 1,000 feet to 3,500 feet. Are you with me? Now, feet, that's how something descends in the water. So that's your X value. So would you call that domain or range? Domain. So what's the smallest value? 1,000. What's the biggest value it went to? 3,500. Domain is it X or Y? I'm just copying these numbers down. So 1,000 is where it started. It went down to 3,500. This is domain or range? Domain, so it's an X in the middle. Are you with me? Now, let's think about the range. How do you think we can find the range from this information right now? How do you think we can find that range? We got the domain, and we got an equation. What would you do to find the range? Domain es X, que es izquierda o derecha. Range es para arriba o para abajo. Pero olvídate de eso. Esto es el domain, que es la X. ¿Cómo vamos a encontrar la Y, Lázaro? Multiplicarlo por X. 1000 es el valor de X más pequeño. 1000 is your smallest X value. Do you agree? What's 0.44 times 1000? 440. I just used a calculator and pressed times. You with me so far? What's the biggest value we got for X? 3,500. So what's 0.44 times 3,500? 30,800. Otro. Está mal. 15, 1500. 1540. ¿Sabes por qué yo sabía que estaba mal? ¿Qué pasó? Ah, ok. Gracias. Ok, ya estoy trancado. Ok, son 1540. ¿Sabes por qué yo sabía que estaba mal? Porque esto es menos que 1. Si yo te multiplico por 0.5, ¿te pones más grande o más chiquito? Más chiquito. O sea, yo sabía que el número tiene que ser más chiquito que 3500. All right, so now, your smallest Y value is 440. And your biggest Y value is 1540. This is how you find the domain and range from word problems. The domain is common sense. The range, you solve for it. Sometimes the range is common sense too. ¿Ah? Multiplicar porque está tocando. Back of the room. We're gonna do these as bell ringers later. Let's go straight to this section right here. Notice here you have a new set. A new set of IXLs. That's not 1 through 6 there. So there's a lot of IXLs, but like you saw, most of you finished all of those already. So they're clickable walkthrough ones. And I can help you with it. Just ask. If you write to me on Remind, I'll help you at whatever time. Trust me, just try it. All right, so first things first, there's a couple really important points on this page. Y is the same as saying fx. So if you see f of x, you could assume that that's the same as saying y. Are you with me? So here's the question. Is this an x or y value? Y value, because it says y equals 3. Are you with me? Is this an x or a y value? X. How come it's an x? Because it replaced the x. So what do you need to know? If it's in the parentheses, it's an x. If it's not in the parentheses, it's a y. Are you with me? This is like the whole lesson, pretty much. You're going to use that information to analyze graphs. So far, so good? So let's look at that graph and answer all of those questions at the bottom together. So here it says f of -1. Is that an x or a y value? An x value. So you're going to go to the x axis, which is right here. See the x axis? Go to that number, which is -1, and go touch your blue or red or whatever line you have. If I go up, will I touch that blue line? If I go up, will I touch my blue line? No, so I have to go down. I go down, Once I touch the blue line, I connect with the related y value. What value is that? -5. You with me? So now let's do that whole column here. F of 0 would be here. Go touch it. What number does it touch? -3. X. 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 So see how the next one is +1? X +1 is right here. What number does it touch? -1 now. Now we have f of 2, which is the x value of 2. Go touch your line and connect to the y-axis. What y value is related to +2? +1. You with me? You're just connecting to your line and seeing what numbers attached to it. Last one here is f of 3. F of 3 is here. Go up. What y value is associated? 3. Any questions so far? Now let's do the same thing for the last 3 questions there, but these are no longer x values. These are what? Y values. So instead of going to the x-axis, you're not going to start on your x-axis. You're going to start on the y-axis because that's what's given to you. So y7 would be right up here. Y7 is right there. Go connect to your line, and what number is associated with that y value? +5. So far, so good? Y5, connect, it gives me 4. Y3, connect, it gives me 3. Are you with me so far? Now watch here. Say again? Which one? Oh, my bad. Good eye. So let's do -3y, which is here. What number, what y value, what x value is associated with that? What? -3 is the y value. That's 0. 0. Yo te vi, Lázaro. Any questions so far? Now watch this. ¿Qué? Mira, es aquí, ¿verdad? Pero ya el punto está ahí. So, ¿qué x es esta? 0. Now, this is what I want to show you guys. F of 3. What did it equal as an answer? Down there. 3. Are you with me? Now, watch how this graph works the same as a function. 2 times 3 minus 3. What's 2 times 3? 6. What's 6 minus 3? 3. See how it gives me the answer? Try another one. Try the 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Minus 3? -1. You with me? The graph is the same as the function. If they give you the graph, you do it this way. If they give you the function, you do it that way. You with me so far? One more example to show you from the same page. Let's try one of the y value ones. So if I say f of x equals 7, and this is your function, same one we had up top, where would you plug in the 7? Where would you plug in the 7? When it was an x, we plugged it in for x. Now that it's a y, you're going to plug it in for y. What's y here? What's y on the equation? F of x. Remember, y is the same as f of x. So also, you could just look at this. What does this say here? F of x is what? 7. So you could plug it in here. 7 equals 2x minus 3. How do we solve that? Plus 3 on both sides, which gives you 2x equals 10. Now divide both sides by your coefficient, which is 2, and you get x equals what? 5. Doesn't it match our answer? So that's just another way to get to the same answer. Hmm. Yeah. What? Because negative 3 is your y value, correct? Which is right here. Yeah, that's why. Any questions on that one? Finish copying it and we'll go to the next page. So now let's do a few examples back to back to back here. So first of all, on the top, they give you a value. Are they giving us an x or a y? They're giving us an x. It says x value of 8. Where's your x value of 8? On the horizontal axis right here. You with me? I go there because it says x. If it says y, I don't start there. I start on the y. So now, from here, go touch your blue line. Right here. Now, what is the y value of that point? 2. Now here, y6. Y6 is here. Not here because this is x. If they give you the y, you start on the y. Now do the same thing. Go touch your line. What x value is associated with that? 5. Make sense? If it doesn't make sense now, as soon as you do like 10 problems, now you got it. Once you get it, the light bulb goes off on this section. All right, let's try the next page. There's a few back-to-back that we're going to try here. So again, the y value is 2. So we go to the y-axis, which is right here, and now go touch the line. It touches here, and it touches here. Are you with me? What x values are associated with that? 0 and 10. Getting the hang of it? It's just reading a graph, learning how to read a graph in algebra. Now here it says x value 5. So you go to the x5, go touch the line. What y value is associated with it? 9. So far, so good? Yeah, because it says x value 5, right? So you go to the x value 5. If they give you the y, you start on the top to bottom line. If they give you the x, you start on the floor looking line. Any questions you have, don't hold them. Ask them. No matter how you think it sounds, just ask. And then, all right, can I shift over? Yeah? No te preocupes, no cojan miedo. So look, first of all, what's another name for plugging something in? Input. Are you with me? What do you normally plug in? What do you normally plug in? The x. Are you with me? So input is x, output is y. Another word for output is result, resultado. Output es un resultado. Y resultados siempre son y. Lo que entra en la ecuación es la x para coger un resultado de y. So now let's start, same concept. Input is an x value. So we start on x10, right there. Now go touch the line. Right here, what y value is associated? -6. On the other one, it says output of -10. Output is y value, so it has to be right on that line. Now go touch your orange. That's -5. Any questions so far? Es lo mismo, pero en vez de decirte X, te dicen input. Y es lo mismo, pero input tú tienes que saber que es X y output es Y. Everybody gets that so far? All right, let's see how much. This is common sense is all I'm asking you. No math. There's no math that you're about to do. I just want you to use your common sense to word it correctly. If this number represents the time, how much time has gone by? It says 0. So how much time went by? 0. So what time is it? 6 a.m. How do you know it's 6 a.m.? Because it says 0. That means no time passed. Are you with me? So that means at 6 a.m. the temperature was 58 degrees. Who wants to give the next one a try? ¿Qué? ¿Qué hora es aquí? A las 12. ¿Por qué son las 12? Porque son 6 horas después de 6 de la mañana. That's the hours after 6 a.m. So 6 a.m. plus 6 hours is 12 p.m. Are you with me? Now, what's the temperature there? N. N. Give it a try, Adrian. I see you reading it. Give it a try. Try to explain this to me now. Maybe you're wrong. Who cares? Nothing bad's going to happen if you're wrong. Anybody want to give it a try? We explained that one. 6 a.m., 58 degrees. 12 p.m., N degrees. What does this mean? What? Oh, you're telling me the time. Oh, okay. That'll work. That's like the beginning steps. Fine. So you said 3:30? So no. Correct. 9:30. What's 3 hours after 6? 9. What's a half an hour after 6? 30. So 9:30. 3.5 horas después de 6 de la mañana es 9:30. Are you with me? Now what's 9? From 6 a.m. 9 hours. What is it going to be? What? No, not the temperature, because that's time. 9 hours on top of 6 a.m. What time is it during the day? Huh? 3 de la tarde. Are you with me? 9:30, 3 p.m. What does this mean? What temperature was lower? This says less than, right? So that means that the temperature at 9:30 was less than the temperature at 3. Common sense is what they want. In words. So look, over here, we have one situation. That's a helicopter. That's a different helicopter than the equation we're looking at here. Right? So there's one helicopter, a different helicopter, or a different flight. But know that they're two separate entities. So, first, let's answer the question. Which flight takes less time? So, how long did it take for them to get to their destination on this graph? 3 hours. Are you with me? How do you know? Because they landed after 3 hours. Are you with me? So what do you think I should do to compare it to this one? Do what with that 3? Plug it in. So this is going to be 350 minus 125x. Instead of x, what are we putting there? 3. So now let's solve this. 125 times 3, negative, gives you what? 375. And 350 minus 375 equals negative 25. Are you with me? So in 3 hours, it was 0 here. In 3 hours, it was negative. Negative is smaller than 0. So this was faster. ¿Entiende? En 3 horas llegó al piso. Este en 3 horas pasó el piso. Quiere decir que ya llegó al piso antes. Este es más rápido. Any questions on that? Now, they want us to create a table of comparable values. So let's first create a table for the graph. What's the first x value we got there? What's the first x value we have on this table? 0. And 0 relates to what y value? No, 0, 0 is right here, and the blue line doesn't go there. 0 is related to what number? 300. That point is where it starts, and that point is 0, comma 300. Are you with me? At 1 hour, where is it by? 200. At 2 hours, where's it by? 100. At 3 hours, where's it by? 0, because it landed. Are you with me so far? That was the table. Now let's do the same thing with those same values, but for the equation. So if I plug in a 0 into the equation, what's negative 125 times 0? 0. So the only thing left is 350. Now grab the 1, plug it in. What's negative 125 times 1? Negative 125. And 350 minus 125, 225, 225. Any questions so far? What? I'm just plugging in each number one by one and putting the answer down. So now let's plug in the 2. 125 negative times 2 is 250. 350 minus 250, 100. And now, when I plug in a 3, we already did it originally. What did we get? Negative 25. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? That's how you compare functions. You're never going to get apples to apples, like a chart compared to a chart. You're going to get a chart compared to a graph compared to a map, like different things. So you need to know how to read them all. All right. Very easy section, so make sure you pay attention here. If it's a table, you're looking for the x value repeating. If the x value repeats, not a function. Are you with me? If the x value does not repeat, it's a function, always, no matter what. So when you get a graph, you do a vertical line test. Also, we call it the pencil trick. If you run your pencil through this vertically, top to bottom like this, and it ever touches 2 spots on your pencil at the same time, that's a no. Does that make sense? Instead, I'm going to do the line so you can see it. But if I do a vertical line, how many times did it touch that shape? 2 times. That means that the x value repeats there. No good. Does that make sense? So let's do the rest very quickly. This is a U. Is it ever going to touch twice on a vertical line? No. So this one is, yes, a beautiful function. Will that ever touch twice? So that's a yes. Also, common sense tells you a line is always a function because it made a line. Now, whether the U is opening up or opening down, it's still a function because it's never going to touch twice. So this is also A yes. Over here, any closed figure like a triangle or a circle for sure has to be a no because it's going to touch twice or more. You with me so far? Look at the coordinates to these two spots where it touches. -3, comma, -2, and the other one is -3, comma, -5. What value repeats here? The x. The x cannot repeat. That's why that's a no. But you just do the line test and you know it's a no. And now on this one, how many times did it touch? 3 times. That's an extra no. Any questions on this page? So this is a quick click through Excel. You can get through the whole thing. Now, what if you have dots? Is that a function? Yes, because it never goes through 2 dots at a time. Is this a function? Why? Because those two touch on a vertical line. Is this a function? Yes, because that dot is empty, which means it goes through it. Is this one a function? Yes, because it goes through it. If they're both solid dots, they crash. If it's open, they give you like 2 questions on Excel like this. You with me? Simple? All right, let's move to the next page. So, now on this one, same concept as a graph, but easier because you don't have to do the pencil trick. You're just looking at the column of the x. So here, on letter A, look at all of the x values. -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Did any of those numbers repeat? So that is a function. Over here, 4, 8, 6, 4. I'm going to stop right there and put a big old no. How come that's not a function? Because the x value repeated, 2 4s. If one's 4 and one's -4, you're still good because that's not the same value. But a 4 and a 4, done. So no. You with me? Which means this table is also a no because it says 0 twice on the x value. X can't repeat. Y value, no problem if it repeats. X value, that's a problem. Can't repeat. It cannot repeat. For the same reason I showed you above, can you plug in, look at this one. Can you plug in a 4 and it gives you a 0, but then you plug in a 4 again and it gives you a 3? That's why that's not a function, because that is not possible if it's a function. It has to be 1x for every 1y, period. All right? Down here, -5, 0, 5, 5. No. Why? The 5 repeats twice and it's an x value. Values of the domain cannot repeat. Now here, 2, 4, 6. Yes. I don't even got to look at the y values. Once I see the x values don't repeat, yes. Now number 2 over here, -4, -1, 2, 5. None of those x values repeated, so it is a yes. I was waiting to see if you're going to mess with my handwriting again. All right, why is number 4 not a function? Why is this? How do you know it repeats? Because of the arrows. See how there's 3 arrows coming from the same x value? That means that x value repeats 3 times. So that's definitely a no. Any questions on this one? Mm-hmm. Claro, claro. All right. So first of all, there's two things happening. One thing is the x, one thing is the y, right? These things are related to each other. That's why they're called relations or functions. So you have to think about what comes first. And this isn't a joke, chicken or the egg, right? Unanswerable. These are all answerable questions. These are all common sense tells you what comes first. You tell me what comes first. Me eating 8 beans or farting 20 times, right? You have to eat beans to fart, right? You don't fart and a bean pops into your mouth, right? There's certain things that happen first. The concept doesn't matter. It could be about alien turkeys. It doesn't matter. So the study was done to find different tire treads. So already we know one variable has to be different tire treads. You with me? Now it says affects the braking distance. Which one depends on what? The braking distance depends on the tire tread. The better the tire tread, the shorter the braking distance. The worse the tire tread, the longer the stopping distance. So which one comes first? The tire tread. So tire tread is your independent, and your dependent is the braking distance. Yeah, focus. Focus on what I'm doing on the board. So here, the time it takes to run a mile. Time to run a mile. That depends on, so already you know, time to run a mile is your dependent. How come that's dependent? Because it says it depends. It depends on what? The running speed. So that would be your independent variable. You know, I said beans. Coincidence, there's a bean question there. But I didn't type it, so it has no farts in it. The height of the bean plant depends. Stop right there. Already I could put height of the bean plant as your dependent variable. Why? Because it says it depends. On what? On the amount of water they receive. Any questions on that? This is science. So it's not the first time you've seen it. Physical science, I believe you do it. Maybe even biology. But it helps with memory, honestly. The coloring and the cutting out and all that stuff helps with like memory. Yeah. You're just an exception to everything then. All right, so this is very important here, this little equation section. All right? It's easier to memorize the no category. All right? Because anything in the world that doesn't fall in the no category falls in what category? Yes. So there's a lot more yeses in the world than no's in the world for this. All right? Trust me. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to copy down on the no column whatever I put, and then we'll put a bunch of examples here so you can see linear ones. So is this an equation? Over here are the no-nos. If your x is in a square root, no good. If your x is a denominator, no good. If the y is completely missing and all you have is x equals a number, no good. What? All right, you guys got to go. Don't take those with you unless you need it for your homework. If you don't need it for your homework, leave it in the bin so we can finish it off tomorrow. Wait, tomorrow. Yeah, I'll see you here at 10 tomorrow. ¿Tú ibas a llegar? On Monday, we'll finish it off and do the worksheet. Have a great day. If you need help, write to me on Remind. Yeah, me dice. Bye, you too, Leandra. Lázaro, cuídate.